Ooh, stuff went down. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. Welcome back to some more Quinfall as always. If you're just jumping into this situation for the first time today and yesterday, we got a big thing to talk about. Unfortunately, there was a big duplication exploit going on yesterday through the marketplace. Some people were able to make a crap ton of money off of utilizing it, and it actually affected a lot of legitimate players. I myself lost about 5 legendary acacia woods, although I can't be too beat up about it because I actually ended up earning around 25 to 30 mil because I myself didn't know what was happening last night, and I listed like a couple of days worth of legendary nebulas that were selling for like 1 mil at the time, so I thought that was a crazy price and that they wouldn't sell, so I sold them for like 800k ish, and lo and behold, they all sold. Same thing with my legendary star scrolls and a few of the meteor souls that I put up on the broker. But basically around like 7, 8ish p.m. last night, after I had got done with stream, I don't even remember when it was actually, but there was a couple of people from the Asia server talking about how there was these items that were being placed on the broker and being sold for these really high amounts. And then there were a couple of comments stating that there was a lot of gold being funneled back into the auction house, but at this point it was still very vague. Well, what ended up happening next was they told everybody that if you basically placed a sell order on the broker for a very high price, and then you tried to place a buy order after that, and then you put that money for you put the amount for the same price, which, like, as you can see, it doesn't look like the buy orders are active right now, and this is the reason why. Basically, if you put a, let's say you put an arrow up here for like 20 million, and then you put a buy order up for 20 million for that same arrow, it would buy it even though you didn't have the money in your inventory. So as you can imagine, this caused a huge freaking uproar. Some people started doing it as well, which was a very bad idea in my opinion, because doing this and not expecting to get banned is just kind of wild to me. Like, I would totally expect to get banned if I was doing something like that and abusing it. But basically, people were generating crap tons of gold, and they were buying items up like crazy. Like, it completely destroyed the wood market as far as the ships go. It completely destroyed the nebula market, like the material market in general. Things were starting to sell for like millions of gold at a time, and they were selling because other people with high amounts of gold were buying them. So everybody in Discord was going a little crazy, and we weren't getting communications initially from the development team because, of course, this was probably like early in the morning for them. So people were getting pissed. We did get a communication from R Mortis a couple of hours after that, and they said that they found the source of the issue and fixed it, and the necessary processes are still ongoing. So by this point, or around this point, they had also disabled the ability to put up buy orders on the market, but people that were exploiting this weren't having their gold removed, so they were still continuing to buy things up, and it was just an absolute mess. They also did have a quick server reboot within this time frame, and I think it could have been trying to fix the issue around that point, or maybe that was when they disabled the buy orders, but nothing substantial got fixed until around 5:23 a.m. Pacific time, where they stated that they've identified an issue with the central market where some players, along with an unintended error, were able to gain an unfair advantage. To address the situation, they initially suspended access to the central market temporarily, and after a thorough investigation, all illegally obtained coin had been removed, and appropriate penalties and sanctions had been applied to the involved players. So they did another update to implement necessary fixes and ensure the integrity of the game economy. They also said that they remain committed to providing a fair and balanced experience for all the players. But after this had happened, there was a lot of chatter in Discord about people calling for a wipe. Some people weren't sure if some money made it through the cracks. Some people weren't sure if like the game could ever recover from this. I was actually able to get an official statement because up until this point, there were no plans to wipe, even past early access as we all understood it. But from what I could see in game, it looked like the prices pretty much corrected themselves. Like, if I go to the acacia wood section, it's going to show that these are selling for like 690k now. Earlier this morning they were selling for 1 mil, but earlier when this was happening, those were selling for like 5 to 20 mil. And then if I went to the nebula section, I know that those are selling for like about 1 mil right now as well. So those are back up to normal. Things are slowly starting to normalize. That's not the right one. They're 1.1 million right now, so that's a pretty normal price as far as that goes. Things are starting to normalize, but you know, things definitely did slip through the cracks. People that had stuff listed for high amounts of money, like myself, we may have all made a crap ton of money, and the money that we got from it is pretty much dirty money, right? But we still have it. So there's probably players out there that have made money like I am, although I have seen players like myself that lost items that they had on the broker. One of the people in Discord that I saw this morning said that he had lost 100+ million. Another person had said that they lost about 70 million because they also didn't get the items back that they sold. So all around it was kind of a mess, and you know, people were naturally asking for wipes, people were outraged, and so on and so so forth. So I was able to actually get an official statement because I wanted to know if they had any plans for an immediate wipe or if they feel like they resolved enough for it to be stabilized now, so on and so forth. I asked specifically if there's been any discussion about there being a wipe or if it will still remain that there's no planned wipe since the issues were fixed. Some people are worried that the people asking for one might get their wish granted, and I felt like it'd be good to have an answer that I could give in a video. So they stated that it wouldn't be very accurate to say it right now. Some people don't want the wipe at all, while others argue that it should be there before early access is completed, which by the way, they said on the Steam page that they plan for the early access to only last about 6 months, although with the current issues and the issues that they've had to deal with prior, that could be extended by a couple of months for sure. They said that we can open a survey about this and get the player's opinion. This in-game poll will not be open to any outside intervention and will be open for a long time for everyone to respond. Players will follow this poll in-game, and that's also how we can decide this. But I think it would be fair for the players that are primarily playing right now or have access to playing right now would be the main ones that can decide if there's a wipe or not. Now, one thing there's also been discussion about is if they should do fresh start servers when the game releases. That could also be something they include in the survey. One thing I was thinking about especially is that if they were to do that, what would happen to the current server we're on? Would it potentially be merged at some point because the population is already low? And that's also part of the worry about them doing a wipe right now, is that players that have been investing their time, and not only time but money, into the game with the thought process that there wouldn't be a wipe might get upset about that. There's been some people that have been grinding hard, and wiping right now might cause them to leave the game instead of wanting to stick with it. There is also a big question of the money spent though, if they weren't able to give us our V coins back. But I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this, whether you think a wipe or fresh start server would be the optimal choice. I also was thinking that if they did a fresh start server and then later on this one died, would they want to merge this server into that one, which I think would be very, very bad because you'd have all the high level characters coming over, the potentially broken economy at that point, and it would cause another potential break in the altars if they're in the same areas. And then also they're going to be doing a territory system like Castle Wars, so if that's implemented at launch and we already have that on this server, that could cause another break. So I think doing the survey idea that they have is a good way to go. See where the players' heads are at over time and don't do anything immediate until you have a good idea of what players want. Because in my opinion, and I'm just going to go ahead and give my thoughts on this overall, it sucks to say, but exploits, duping, gold sellers, they kind of go hand in hand with MMOs in general. I mean, this game has a $20 box price. They also made it a requirement to be level 25 before you're able to even type in global chat, and the gold sellers only seem to be affected by that for like the first 1 to 2 days after that change is made. If there's interest there, they're going to be there usually no matter what. However, I think something that could help with that is if they were to hire some paid or volunteer staff to go in and start banning these people left and right. Same thing with hackers, dupers, etc. If they've seen unrefuted evidence that they are doing it, just put the ban hammer on them based on the severity of the offense and call it a day, or investigate. But going back to the previous topic, in my opinion, botting, exploiting, duping, all this stuff, it goes hand in hand with MMOs. I've seen one or multiples of those things happen in AAA MMOs, and rarely, if I remember correctly, did I ever remember them immediately wiping after something like that had happened. The reason for that is because there's other options. You have rolling back, you have just reverting the trades, you have banning the players and removing that gold as best you can and items from the situation. One of the reasons is because there's no guarantee that something like this may not happen again. New and major patches may open up the floodgates for new things to break and be abused. When the northeast and northwestern regions are finally released, we might see pockets of those areas that players can easily abuse to get a lot of money or XP. And because of that, of course, it wouldn't be viable to wipe every time something like this happens. So overall, I really hope that Quinfall is able to make it out of this. They've been getting hit by a lot of different external factors, such as the servers, the hackers, all that kind of stuff. And with their small team, I think it's still clear that they're trying to do the best that they can. So I hope this doesn't kick them too far down. But like I said before, please let me know what you guys think about this and what your preferred solution would be. Have a wonderful night or day, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.